You're listening to the Impact Showdown with Lee Sanders.
Coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. This is our Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. I am, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank you all so much for checking out this episode on June 21st, 2012. We just saw Impact Wrestling go off the air. Where do I even begin, as that segment just had me agreeing with the fans in attendance, live fans in attendance at that, chanting, Jerry, 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 Jerry. All I was waiting for was the bodyguard, Steve Wilkos, to come out and separate whatever the hell that was that we just watched. Man, poor acting. I don't even know where to begin with that. I'll definitely be dissecting that as we go later on into the show, that I promise you. Thank you all that are checking out this episode right now. And, hey, for you basketball fans out there, we definitely got your hookup. You know that. Now, we have going at halftime right now, the Miami Heat beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 48-36. That's right. Miami Heat are beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 48-36. Could this be the night that Miami has been waiting for 2 years now, ever since LeBron James first made it his business to be down there? Could it be the night, finally, for the Big Three? Or will they choke tonight? We will know in just a little bit, folks. Will we be crowning new NBA champions in the Miami Heat, or will the Miami Heat choke and have to find themselves regrouping if they suffer a loss at the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunder? We'll know tonight, folks, for sure. And I have a definite strong feeling that we will know the results of this game before we go off the air, because we are doing a deluxe episode edition of Impact Showdown. Get you guys ready for the weekend. I did promise you all on our Tuesday night edition, which kind of ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger as far as getting that entertainment fix. Well, we definitely are going to be redeeming ourselves very good over here tonight. Feel free to call in if you want and talk about the latest installment of Impact Wrestling or other wrestling-related news. Kick back, smile, and dial 1-888-342-9848. Toll free, 1-888-342-9848. Just kick back, smile, and dial. You'll be live on the air. Now, before we go right into tonight's Impact Wrestling results and I share with you my thoughts on tonight's episode, definitely want to just take this time out to thank those of you that are listening to this episode right now. Also want to give those of you a shout-out that's listening to this episode on our sister website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. Definitely have to give a shout-out to those of you that have been checking out all our episodes on the downloads. Definitely got to give a little shout-out to you all. Thought we'd put that plug out there for you guys that are checking out the downloads, as we're always pleased to see the very good numbers that continue to come in for our downloads. And, of course, we got to show some love for those of you that are checking out our episodes on Stitcher so that you can play our episodes on your iPad, Android phone, Kindle Fire, iPad, you name it. Definitely appreciate the love right there. Of course, we got to show love to our YouTube subscribers and those that check out all our content up on there, as we've just been continuing to receive new subscribers, and we continue to be showing a lot of love
on YouTube, so we definitely appreciate that there. And, hey, I just got to say this. I thought that these were some really nice words that had came from one of our YouTube followers. And I'm going to read to you what he said, because what he said was really nice. And he said, and I quote, and this is from 420 Uncle Junebug. He says, I like your show. I'm one of your new subscribers as of Sunday's No Way Out post show. Here I am now listening to a very entertaining show. Keep up the good work. Hey, we definitely will, 420. We definitely will keep up the good work. Really appreciate the love right there, bro. So, not too much has happened since last we were on the air. Well, we've been gone for, what, about 24 hours, 30-plus hours, basically. And not too much has been going on, but how about that episode of Impact Wrestling, folks? That started off a little strong there, but towards the end, it kind of came off a little bit weak there. We'll definitely be talking about that. Without any further ado, actually, before we go right into it, we got to give a daggone plug out. My bad. Tonight's episode is being brought to you by the NWA. That's right, folks, the National Wrestling Alliance. Now, for those of you that may not be aware, in case you missed that memo, don't worry. We got you covered, folks. We got you. We're going to be hooking up with the NWA promotion as we're going to be doing a new original show that's going to be making its debut later on this summer. It's going to be covering all of the latest wrestling action happening from NWA Florida and NWA Korea. It's going to be really awesome. Can't wait to do it. I've been brushing up my homework on that. I'm just counting it down until I can finally do this show. I've been looking forward to it ever since we had found out we were going to be working with them. In the meantime, while you're waiting for that new show to make its debut, get caught up on all the latest in NWA news, wrestling events, etc. Go check out their website over at nwafloridatv.net. Again, that's nwafloridatv.net. Really cool website. I was just amazed at how fast the turnaround came for the website, as when I first gave it out on Sunday, it was under construction. You could go there. The link was working and everything, but there really wasn't anything to look at. And within just a record timing, whoever their staff is that they got over there, they've been doing a phenomenal job, because it's really been coming off like they have been working around the clock nonstop, as new content is just constantly being uploaded on that site. Looks really phenomenal. Great layout, nice slider, really cool layout they got going on right there. Highly recommend you go check out their website over there, nwafloridatv.net. While you're at it, look them up on Facebook, okay? Facebook, NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. Once again, that's on Facebook, and they can be found at NWA Championship Wrestling from Florida. Like their page, follow them, let them know Lee sent you. They'll give you some special love right there. So, without any further ado, let's go on ahead and let's talk about tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. And it's that night. Tonight is open fight night. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but when they originally came up with this whole open fight night concept, didn't they sit up and say something along the lines of once a month, the very last Thursday of the month, we're supposed to be getting open fight night? I swear I remember Hulk Hogan saying that, and I remember rewinding it on my DVR. I could have sworn that is exactly what Hulk Hogan had said. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, for those of you that might not be able to keep track of the calendar date, last I checked, there's one more Thursday for this month. I mean, I got a calendar right here. Maybe I'm going crazy here, but last I checked, next Thursday is the 28th. I could be wrong. I could totally suck with math, but last I checked, next Thursday is the 28th. So why are we getting a open fight night episode a week early? And to add to that, why are we getting an open fight night episode that really did not receive that much of a build-up? I'm trying to remember for the love of me if open fight night was really blasted like that on last week's episode of Impact Wrestling. And I kind of just remember it kind of being mumbled like last week on Impact Wrestling. It was almost kind of like, picture yourself at work and you're chilling with a friend at a water cooler machine, and you're basically going, oh, yeah, that Patty, she's got a really nice ass. Yeah, that's basically how it kind of came off last week. It was kind of like, and such a decision that Austin Aries has to make next week. An open fight night. And our next match of the evening. I mean, that's really how it came off. So this actually kind of threw me off, as I was expecting open fight night to be next week. My message to TNA, this is supposed to be one of those type of shows where you're introducing a up-and-coming wrestler and the TNA gut check. This is supposed to be the night where you have wrestlers that can challenge whoever. This is the episode where you have the champion who is going to have to defend their title against whomever. There really needs to be more hype than what we just witnessed last week, building this episode up, just to really build in more ratings, if you will. It wouldn't surprise me if the ratings kind of dipped just a little bit. I know they've been increasing within the past couple of weeks, but it wouldn't surprise me if the numbers tanked just slightly. And I don't want to say tank because that's a strong word to use. I'll say dip low just a little bit. But regardless of that, it's open fight night, and we would see a video package recap of James Roode, Austin Aries, and from there we would see the TNA general manager, Hulk Hogan, come out. He got a pretty large pop from the crowd, as usual, and he lets the Impact crowd know that, hey, when they ask for change, you better be ready for it, because you're going to make a lot of friends, and you're going to make enemies along the way. Case in point, look at what happened to the icon Sting. Now, Hogan will point out that he didn't appreciate what had went down with Sting, and that he's not really sure who those men were that attacked Sting, and that he's not going to even dignify that attack on Sting by re-airing the footage. No. He's not even going to show that. But what he does promise is that he will find out who those individuals are, and they will be brought to justice. And then on the flip side of that, he would also say how we have Austin Aries, who was supposed to be out with his decision at the very start of 8 p.m., as he needs to know if Austin Aries is going to be willing to put his TNA X Division title up for grabs to go one-on-one with Robert Roode at the Destination X pay-per-view. And from there, folks, we would see Austin Aries come out. And, man, you want to talk about a power move as Austin Aries comes out to the ring. The fans are chanting his name. He's like, hey, I know my own name. Thank you. But that's not what this is about right now. Hogan, he's telling him, look, have you been hearing all the buzz that we've been getting all week? Have you been hearing? What's your decision? Austin Aries, he says, yeah, I've been hearing a lot about this, and, I know that you have option A, which really should be a no-brainer. I mean, I'm getting an opportunity to jump ahead of a lot of guys to take on the champion, Robert Roode. But on the other hand, in order to get that opportunity, I've got to cough up this X Division title. And this belt, to me, it really means a lot, as a lot of great men have held this title. I don't even need to go down the list of people that has held this title. This title is just as important as the TNA heavyweight title. Austin Aries would then point out option B, which would be, hey, he could continue to be the most dominating X Division champion. But then there's option C, and this really flipped off Hulk Hogan, who's saying, wait a minute, brother, there is no option C. I made it short, sweet, and simple. You got option A, you got option B. Austin Aries, he says, no. What I have in mind will make sure that in the near future, what I'm going to be doing right now will be laid out as a foundation, as something to build upon for future X Division champions to come. And Hulk Hogan would basically let Austin Aries know, you better not be playing around here. Whatever you're sitting on, it better be one good idea. And what a freaking great idea it was, as Austin Aries said, look, I'll go on ahead. I'll put this belt on the line to take on Robert Roode at Destination X under one condition, and that is the same time each year, no matter who the X Division champion is, they are given the opportunity, just like I am right now, to be able to cash in their title to get an opportunity to face the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Hulk Hogan, he gives Austin Aries a lot of praise, tells him that's why he likes him, as he's always thinking fast. He loves it. He's on board. This would prompt Robert Roode to come out, who is disgusted by what he heard. And he tells him that that title that he has means nothing, and that the real World Heavyweight Championship is what it's all about, and tells him that he just made the biggest mistake of his life, and lets him know that you want to cash in the title to face me, go into the main event, so be it, but be forewarned. I'm not some X Division wrestler. I am God's gift to professional wrestling. I am the It Factor, the longest reigning champion, and I will prove it at Destination X. I will embarrass your ass. And this would prompt Austin Aries to invite Robert Roode down to the ring, since it is open fight night, and just get it on. And the two of them, they were just throwing punches left and right. They were throwing those hammers down at one another. Security would eventually come into the scene, and they will break the two up to in a really great, powerful segment for Impact Wrestling, a.k.a. Open Fight Night. Now, let's just really break this down. Let's really dissect this, because I know we're one of the first shows to be talking about this episode here, and that is, I love how they basically are going to be treating this X Division title kind of like WWE's Money in the Bank. You know, think about that Money in the Bank for a second. You got an entire year to cash in that briefcase for an opportunity at facing the World Heavyweight Champion or the WWE Champion. I think this is a really great concept in itself. And when you really think about it, we don't even have to go down that WWE route. Let's just say I didn't even say that WWE stuff for a second. It's also a really great move, especially for the future. Because what if we have a really awesome X Division champion, but he's in a situation where he's got the moves, he's a great performer, he can talk really good, but he's so small, and I don't know, I can't really picture him taking on the TNA champion. Well, now you throw those prejudiced looks out the window. Now it's just up to the X Division champion. I mean, can you imagine if Spike Dudley was still wrestling in TNA right now, and he would be the one holding the X Division title sometime next year, or heck, he could be in the picture right now. How cool would that be to see Spike Dudley we know he doesn't really have a chance in hell, but you can dream, can't you? He's able to cash in that title, and he gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Champion. I think that is a really great concept. It spices things up just a little bit. You know, unfortunately, we're not really going to be able to remember it on a weekly basis. We're really going to be remembering it when it draws close to the X Division pay-per-view every year, but I still think it's a really great idea, very beautiful concept on TNA Creative. I am just excited at what they did right there. That's really called creativity. So mad kudos for TNA for jumping out there like that. Even if they took a few elements, borrowed something here and there from other promotions, I still think that it's definitely a step going into the right direction. Now, from there, folks, we would see a backstage segment where we have, I believe it was Mickie James. Who was it? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Give me a second. Actually, no, we would see Mr. Kennedy come out during AJ. No. See, that's the beautiful thing about this show. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's really pushing my memory. I remember now, folks. Forgive me. After we would see Austin Aries and Robert Roode throw it down, we would see Mr. Kennedy come out, and he would basically inform the two guys that, hey, I'm here to let both of you guys know. I don't know which one of you all it's going to be, but I know that I've got dibs on the TNA World Heavyweight Champion because I'm going to win the Bound for Glory series. So you two consider yourselves put on notice, as Mr. Anderson will be having a match coming up next. Now, this was really funny, as Mr. Anderson will grab a microphone and he would call out Christopher Daniels. And the reason why he called out Daniels is because he doesn't appreciate Daniels going around destroying families, destroying lives, all the stuff that Daniels has been doing with AJ Styles, Dixie Carter. So he calls him out, and the beautiful thing I liked about this was the backstage segment. We see Daniels kicking back, and he's drinking a margarita or whatever the heck it was he was drinking. He was drinking alcohol, and he's just looking like, what the hell? Why is he calling me out? What the hell, man? And he's just enjoying his drink as he's casually walking down to the ring. And one of our followers by the name of Shannon Marie, she sat up and she said the following. She said, clearly TNA doesn't have a wellness program as Daniels takes his drink to the ring with him. LOL. And I couldn't agree more. It's like, wow, talk about just throwing caution into the wind there. No wonder people are getting injured left and right, because they're able to drink on the job in TNA. I mean, you got James Storm running around drinking his little beer, and you got ODB going around drinking her little booze out of a little silver canister. Yeah, no wonder people are messing up moves sometimes and sitting up and hurting other people in the frickin' ring. We need to do something about that, TNA. But regardless, we would see Daniels and Anderson get it on. And keep in mind, one of the other themes that's happening throughout the night is our Bound for Glory series is continuing as points are up for grabs. And we would see Mr. Anderson defeat Daniels with the mic check to pick up the victory. It was a really great match. I was loving this. I loved how Anderson tried to apply the mic check early on, but Daniels was able to quickly counter it. But Anderson, he made a comeback really fast to take out Daniels. So Anderson, he picked up 7 points right here. Now, from there, we go to a backstage segment. This is what I was thinking of initially that had me fumbling with my words there, as we have Brooke Hogan, who walks in on Velvet Sky, ODB, Mickie James, Madison Rayne, as Brooke Hogan needs to eliminate at least 3 of these people because she's trying to figure out who's going to be her challenger to face the Knockouts champion tonight. It was a little bit of a sloppy segment as far as the last few seconds that we saw, because we see all the Knockouts chilling in Brooke's office and they're talking amongst each other, and we see Brooke Hogan open the door. She comes in and she says, "Hello, girls," and as she's talking, the feed just abruptly cuts off. It was a really, I don't know, maybe Brooke Hogan came in a little too early. That's kind of the impression that I get, because I was under the impression that maybe it was just supposed to end with the Knockouts just talking amongst themselves. But from there, we would see another backstage segment where we have AJ talking with Dixie Carter, TNA president, and they're both talking about how they know they've been talking about it all week, and they can't talk about anything else. AJ, his whole concern is, well, maybe there's another way. Dixie says, no, it has to be tonight. It should be tonight. Let's do it tonight. Whatever. We'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. Now, from there, folks, we go back to our segment where we have Brooke talking to the TNA Knockouts. Now, Brooke wants to know, respectively now, why each knockout feels they should have the opportunity to face TNA Knockouts champion Miss Tessmacher. Now, as far as ODB goes, she says, hey, I got a unique style, never had a title shot. Madison Rayne, she claims that when she had the title, she was one of the longest reigning Knockouts title holders in TNA. Now, let's just back that up a second, because I actually rewinded this twice just to make sure I heard what I heard. We had Madison Rayne say she was the longest reigning Knockouts title holder in TNA. I have a question. What's Gail Kim been saying all this time? Now, somebody in the chat room, those of you that are listening, those of you that are waiting to go live on the air, just think about this for a second. What has Gail Kim been saying all this time? What did Gail Kim just say last week when she bumped into Brooke Hogan? She said she was the longest reigning TNA Knockouts champion in history. Did she not? So how is it that Madison Rayne can lay claim to that? Little bit of a mess up, if you will, there. I don't really know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I read too much into the fine details, but when you got two people saying the same thing, it's kind of like, okay, well, who officially has that title? It can't be both. Who really lays claim to it? I'm curious what you guys think. We'll definitely want to get you all's thoughts on that. Those of you in the chat room, definitely feel free to share your thoughts on that, and we'll definitely read some of your comments live on the air throughout the course of tonight's episode. But from there, we would see Brooke, who points out to Madison Rayne, hey, you care about more of your mystery boyfriend than you do with what's supposed to be going on in the ring. What you really should be doing is not mixing pleasure with business. You need to get your head in check. And pretty much on that note, Brooke Hogan makes the first smart move as far as eliminating candidates to face Tessmacher. She eliminates Madison Rayne. So now it's down to ODB, Velvet Sky, and Mickie James. From there, folks, we see Robbie E. in the ring as he puts out a challenge. It's the Big Robbie E. challenge. He wants for anybody who's got the guts to come face him one-on-one. Now, keep in mind, this is another Bound for Glory match where points are up for grabs. Now, who would accept this challenge? None other than the Olympic gold medalist himself, Kurt Angle, who comes down to the ring and he handles his business and he just embarrasses Robbie E. within record seconds as he made Robbie E. tap out to pick up 10 points because it was a submission maneuver that helped him get the win. When you win by submission, you get a little bit more points. When you win by pinfall, you get 7 points. So really awesome there that you can pick up a few more points when you make somebody tap out there. Now, the next segment, I was actually really feeling this because it had a heartwarming story. It was very touching. I loved it. I loved it so much that I told our co-producer, Tammy, I said, look, you got to try to see if you can get them onto the show. I like this. I like this. And, of course, I'm talking about Miss Taylor Hendricks, who is from Massachusetts. She's been wrestling for 6 years. She got into the wrestling business just basically by watching these men and women on TV, and she loved how the characters really jumped out there at her on the television, and she decided that's what she wanted to do. And she had a very serious obstacle to overcome early on in her life when she was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 21, but she did not let that hinder her as she continued on with her dream. And as far as what she is looking to accomplish in TNA, she wants to become the next TNA Knockouts champion. She wants to be the next TNA Knockouts tag champion. Well, she's going to get her opportunity to showcase her skills in the ring later tonight, as it's another installment of TNA Gut Check. From there, folks, we would get our third match of the night, which would see AJ Styles take on Magnus. Now, the way this came about was Magnus came down to the ring, and he's basically being very cocky, talking about how the ladies want to jump up on that, okay, and how basically he doesn't appreciate what AJ has been doing as far as Magnus is concerned. AJ is basically sleeping his way to the top while the president is just signing the checks away. So he figures he could call out AJ Styles, put him in his place. Well, AJ was handling his business pretty good in this contest, but we would see an appearance by Kazarian and Daniels as they had something in the envelope that they were waving at AJ Styles as they were quickly coming down to the ring. And AJ Styles, he loses focus once again on what's happening in the ring, and he's just taunting at Kazarian and Daniels, telling them, hey, come on, bring it, come on, bring it. And Magnus takes advantage of a distracted AJ Styles from behind, hits him with his finisher to pick up the victory there. Now, later on, we would see our fourth match, which would see Tara taking on Taylor Hendricks. Now, this match, I was paying very close attention to it. And I must admit, this match kind of came off more about Tara than Hendricks. I don't know if some of you are in the chat room or those of you listening, I don't really know if you guys really were picking up that vibe, but that's definitely the vibe I picked up, because so far, since we've seen the few people that have come through Gut Check, they've been given that platform to really showcase their skills. And though Hendricks could take a bump pretty good, I'm caring more about what can she do on the offense. And I really wasn't that pleased with what I saw on the offense. But at the same time, I do see the potential. I do see room for improvement. She does kind of strike me as the type of individual that's willing to keep going at it. So despite the fact that she really didn't put that much of an offense, and despite the fact that Tara would pick up this win, I still feel that Hendricks should be offered a contract. And as I said earlier, we're definitely going to try to see if we can get Miss Hendricks onto a future episode of the RCWR show, Impact Wrestling. I said Impact Wrestling, my bad. Impact Showdown. So we'll see definitely how that turns out. Hopefully we'll have an answer for you guys by next Tuesday, no later than Thursday, because we've already got in contact with her people. So we'll keep you posted on that, folks. And from there, we would see Samoa Joe call out James Storm. Now, you want to talk about a gutsy move for the Samoan Machine. I really don't think this was a smart move to do, especially since Samoa Joe, he's been on one hell of a streak as of late. I don't know what's been going on with this guy, but it frustrates me sometimes because I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan, and there used to be a time where this guy, he used to be the real freaking deal. This guy used to be a monster. This guy used to be awesome to watch, but the way they just keep burying this damn guy, I am just literally yelling at the TV each time I see them use this guy wrong. I'm saying to myself, when is Joe just going to ask for his release and maybe go to Ring of Honor or go back to the indie scene, because it's just really sad how they're doing him. He's just not really getting the true push that he deserves. Now, some people will sit up and say, well, he has it coming to him because he really hasn't been that much of a team player. He hasn't really been doing what TNA wants. They have wanted him in the past to shed off more weight so that maybe he could be considered for a push, but I don't know. I just think that's a load of crap as far as his weight goes, because remember, Bully Ray, he's been doing his bully gimmick for a good minute now, and he was still packing all that weight when he began doing it. Does he look better now? Yeah, but even way back then, he was considered for a bit of a push. But maybe it had to do with his appearance that made TNA Creative say, nah, let's go in a different direction. So I don't really think the whole weight thing really plays that much of a factor. Maybe it just boils down to the vibe that he's giving to those that he works with. Or maybe it boils down to his mentality, which is, hey, as long as I keep getting paid, that's all that really matters. I'm sorry. I'm all for the money, especially if it makes me feel comfortable, but if I'm not getting my recognition, if I'm not getting that pat on the back, or my time to run with the ball, if you will, I would be kind of looking at other avenues to test out. That's just me, but to each its own. Now, with regards to that match, James Storm would pick up the victory. He would pick up an additional 7 points because he took out Samoa Joe with the last call super kick to pick up the victory there. So he's got 7 points added on to that little gauntlet match that he won last week. Now keep in mind that gauntlet match that he won on last week's Impact Wrestling, 20 points was up for grabs. So 27, he's got 27 points right now, continues to lead early on in the Bound for Glory series. Now, from there, we would see a recap of AJ, Dixie Carter, and it would blend so perfectly into the backstage segment area where we see AJ talking with Dixie Carter, and he's telling her how he's feeling like he's falling apart and that they have to do this tonight. They just have to. What is the cliffhanger? What is it that they have to do tonight? Well, we're going to know soon, definitely for certain. Our sixth match of the night, we saw the Pope taking on Bully Ray. Now, Bully Ray, he ended up choosing the Pope by really what he considered to be an easy pick, because we had three guys that were left in the backstage area that haven't wrestled yet. And it was the Pope, Jeff Hardy, RVD. So Bully Ray, he sits up and he says, hey, I'm going to make it easy for myself. Hey, Pope, you've been down there in Hollywood and all that other good stuff. Why don't you come on out here, boy, and let me beat you up real good. Now, this is where I kind of got a little oh, man, did he just kind of go that route? Because I even watched the Pulp's expression, and I can't be the only one that kind of caught this vibe. And I wasn't overanalyzing this. I didn't even rewind it. This is just how great my mind works. I see this happen with Bully Ray saying the whole boy thing, and then instantly, with like 2 seconds, I'm saying to myself, did we just hear a white guy call a black man a boy? Because even the Pope kind of sat up and was looking at Jeff Hardy and RVD kind of like, did he just call me boy? So I don't really know if that was really the right choice of words to use. I probably would have, oh, God, don't even get me started. Because, see, I would have probably sat up and said homie, but then y'all would probably be like, nah, that's kind of got some racial overtone to it. You better not go there. I don't know what else he could have called him. Maybe he could have said, hey, Pulp, bring your punk ass down here. I would have went with that. I think that would have sufficed. But in either case, we would see the monster, Abyss, make an appearance during this match. And Bully Ray, man, seems like every time Abyss pops up, Bully Ray just starts acting like a little scared little girl, because we would see Abyss come through the crowd as Bully Ray at one point during this contest, he's outside of the ring trying to regroup, and Abyss, he grabs him and tries to do that little two-handed body slam, but Bully Ray, he quickly pushed him away and was trying to run. And as all of this is happening, I'm seeing Abyss, who's already put hands on Bully Ray, I'm saying to myself, why isn't the referee just throwing this match out? Because we have somebody that's interfering. We have a wrestler that put his hands on another wrestler who doesn't even have anything to do with this match. Shouldn't Bully Ray have picked up points automatically? I'm just trying to make sure I understand it right. I don't know if anybody else was thinking the same thing, but I just totally thought that was kind of weird how they did that. But we would see Bully Ray enter the ring, and we see Abyss, who's about to go back in there, as the Pulp takes advantage of Bully Ray coming in there to hit his finisher, pick up the win. And from there we would see the Pulp just back up and watch the action go down between Abyss, Bully Ray, as Bully Ray slowly is leaving the ring. And I've never seen anybody run so slow from an attack in my life. It was just so silly. It reminded me of an episode of Benny Hill. And at the very end of the show, you got everybody chasing after Benny Hill. Abyss should have had this guy. Abyss wasn't running, Bully Ray, he wasn't even running that freaking fast. So I don't understand why there was a need to run. I mean, he even tried to push him as he was running for safety. So that was just really, I don't know, I thought it was kind of tacky right there. They could have did that just a little bit better. Personally, I would have preferred to see Bully Ray live up to the Bully Ray and just take a knee to the groin of Abyss or punch him in the balls, then haul ass. That would have just made a little bit more sense, and you could have had Abyss just chilling there in the ring, just going, and, you know, then he could have sat up and he could have gave chase to Bully Ray after he finished recuperating himself, if you will. Now, from there, we see a backstage segment where Hulk Hogan bumps into RVD and Jeff Hardy, and he says, we got a problem on our hands, guys. Now, you two guys, you haven't wrestled yet, and you're my last two guys. So you know what that says to me? Well, one of you two guys will probably win this Bound for Glory series. So here's what's going to happen. You two, main event tonight, one-on-one against each other. Good luck. So our main event is set as we got RVD taking on Jeff Hardy. Now, from there, we see another backstage segment where we got Brooke Hogan, who is just fixated on these two photos of Mickie James and Velvet Sky as she's trying to figure out which one she's going to pick to face the Knockouts champion, Brooke Tessmacher. Oh, I'm sorry. Her name is Ms. Tessmacher now. We can't call her Brooke anymore. Did anybody notice how big those freaking pictures were that Brooke Hogan was looking at of Mickie James and Velvet? I just kind of walked away from that kind of chuckling because I'm thinking to myself, so she needs to have a picture of them in like 11 by 15 size just so she can try to figure out who she's going to pick. I mean, it just kind of came off like a little kid kicking back and looking at a little cartoon book, and you have a cat and a dog. The C is in cat as D is into dog. Cat, dog. That's just really how it kind of came off to me as she's kicking back and she's looking at these two pictures. I would have preferred it if they just would have showed her in her office just kicking back and watching like a flat screen TV and have it be like a split screen of matches of Mickie James, and then on the other side you could have it be Velvet Sky and she's just like watching them that way and she's got a pen in her mouth and she's trying to figure out who she's going to pick. I think that would have came off looking a little bit more cooler in my opinion, because it's bad enough we got her coming into the TNA organization and we got those fans out there that are sitting up saying, oh, Brooke Hogan, oh, she's stupid. What's she doing in wrestling? She don't know nothing about wrestling. I can understand that. I can, definitely appreciate where those fans are coming from. And here was a case where TNA, they kind of missed an opportunity to kind of make her come off looking a little bit more stronger. Now, let's give credit where it's due. She came off making a smart move earlier when she had eliminated, who was that? Madison Rayne. And she would eliminate ODB. I don't even think I had covered that yet, but she did eliminate ODB. Her basis for eliminating ODB was basically, hey, you have your husband, you're always worrying about if he's going to be sitting up and touching other girls, looking at other girls. You got too many distractions going on right now, so that's why ODB would get eliminated from that. But I just thought this was an opportunity where TNA Creative, they could have sat up and they could have made Brooke Hogan come off looking even more stronger after those two eliminations that she did, because then you could have sat up and as you, the viewer, are watching her in the office, you're watching her look at the TV of Velvet Sky and Mickie James in their respective matches. You could have came away from that saying, oh, okay, Brooke's really trying to do her homework. She's really trying to make sure that she makes the right decision here. That's all I'm saying. I mean, just a little bit of detail, it just goes so far to make the end result better, I feel. And from there, we would get a very awkward moment where we would see a video preview of Montgomery Gentry's new video starring Velvet Sky. As remember, just last week, Brooke Hogan had revealed that the Knockouts, one of them at least, they had an opportunity to be in the new Montgomery Gentry video, and that opportunity had went to Velvet Sky, and I tried with the love of me to watch this video. I tried, man, but as beautiful as Velvet Sky is, and she doesn't get enough credit, she looks even more prettier without the makeup. I'd like to see her more without the makeup. She just has a real natural, hot beauty. It's just even better than what's portrayed on TV. If y'all haven't taken the liberty of really checking out how she looks without makeup, do a Google search. I would type in keywords Velvet Sky without makeup, and that should give you a pic that's been floating around of her. She actually took the liberty of posting a few pictures of herself without makeup on her Twitter, and I think maybe on her Facebook. I know on Twitter for sure, so you might be able to bump into it that way. But I couldn't watch this video for the love of me because I'm sitting up and I'm saying to myself, it looks too cheesy, it looks too generic. All I basically see is Impact Wrestling music video. That's all I really saw. They just show her getting up, having a cup of coffee, brushing her teeth, eating. Oh, I mean, so freaking boring. I mean, give me some zest to it, man. Give me, you know, it needs cowbells. Remember that SNL episode with Christopher Walken? And he's like, I need cowbells. I got to have more cowbells. Man, I don't know, man. Maybe that's what they needed in that video, but it just was not intriguing to me. I didn't even find it cool. You would think I would, because how can you go wrong with a hot blonde in a music video? But I just didn't care about it. And from there, we would see Brooke Hogan make her decision as she gives the edge to Mickie James, as she feels that Mickie James really deserves the shot. So in our 7th match, we would see the TNA Knockouts title on the line, where Mickie James takes on Ms. Tessmacher. I was enjoying this match. I was actually invested. I actually felt as if just maybe Mickie James could have pulled an upset. But what did we see, folks? I've been saying it off and on for the past few weeks now. Every time we turn around, we see Miss Tessmacher sit up, and how does she get a victory? It's always by some type of a lame-ass roll-up. I want to see a finisher. I mean, I can appreciate her working on her craft, busting her butt, trying to do better, but come on, you don't have a finisher yet? Why don't you borrow Gail Kim's Eat Defeat? I mean, seriously, I'm tired of seeing a roll-up. And it just kind of makes her wins, in my opinion, seem more, you were just lucky. That's how it's really coming off. Let's see her really do a finisher and be like, yes, I actually beat this person. I didn't just get them by luck. I didn't surprise them. I actually beat them. That's what I would like to see more. But one interesting development we would see is Mickie James post-match. She was just looking so pissed off at Velvet Sky. I said Velvet Sky. I apologize. She was looking so pissed off at Tessmacher. It just kind of came away as if maybe, just maybe, Mickie James could possibly go back to being a heel. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I mean, honestly, I've been waiting for her to go back to being a heel for quite some time now. I want to see her bust out some retro Mickie James. I want to see her bring back the psycho gimmick that she had going on when she first went into the WWE. I'd like to see her bring that little gimmick back, maybe revamp it just a little bit, but I hope that's what happens. It looks as if the ingredients have been planted, as last week Mickie James came off looking as if she was a bit bummed out, disappointed that she didn't get selected to be in the Montgomery Gentry video. Now we have her looking real peed off this week after being defeated in an upset, and she's beating herself up because she feels she definitely should have had that win. What could make her snap? What could finally push her over the button, and what could make her finally go over that edge and make her just say, you know what, just F it all and start being a heel again? Very interesting to see how this will play out. And our 8th and final match of the evening, we got Jeff Hardy taking on the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. This was a really great match. You know, when these two guys hook up, it's always going to be good. This match, it definitely didn't disappoint. I was loving this contest, and I thought it was a great way to end Impact Wrestling. Notice I said a great way to end Impact Wrestling. Unfortunately, this would not be our walk away from Impact Wrestling and say, damn, that was a good episode. No. unfortunately, we have a main attraction that's going to end this episode that will leave a bitter taste in everyone's mouths. I know it has. But with regards to this match, we would see Jeff Hardy pick up the win, and he got 7 points. Now, for you all that haven't been able to keep track, over here on Impact Showdown, every Thursday night, we'll get you hooked up as far as the Bound for Glory points. Here's how the leaderboards look right now. We got James Storm at 27. We got Kurt Angle at 10. We got Mr. Anderson at 7. We got Magnus at 7. We got Jeff Hardy at 7. We got The Pope at 7. We got Daniels, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Robbie E., RVD, and Bully Ray all scoreless. So we'll definitely keep you posted on that each week until the Bound for Glory series concludes. Now, let's talk about this main attraction that I have been teasing all night long now, ever since the beginning of the show. Where do I start butchering this? Well, let's start off with the enticing opening as we get the TNA president, Dixie Carter. We get AJ Styles. They're in the ring, and Dixie Carter, she's taking the lead, and she's saying, hey, lives were changed, lives were destroyed. And she just starts fumbling with her words. She's trying to find the right things to say, and AJ, he tells her, hey, we don't need this. We're better than this. Let's just go. We don't have to do this. We can leave right now. Come on. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Dixie. Come on. And Dixie, she's hesitating a little bit, but she kind of says, okay, yeah, okay, let's go. And before the two of them can exit the ring, we would see this, I think she was a redhead or a brunette. She was a brunette. White girl coming to the ring, and we're like, who is this? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, is this AJ's wife? She looks like she's pregnant. Maybe it's AJ's wife. No, can't be AJ's wife because last we checked, AJ, he just had another kid with his wife. So, no, that can't be his wife. Who is this girl? So this lame-ass actress gets in the ring. That's what I'm calling her because her acting was just totally freaking pitiful. She gets in the ring and she announces herself as Claire Lynch. I believe that's the name she said. She really wasn't talking that clearly. Kind of sounded like she was mumbling a little bit, but I believe I heard Claire Lynch. If that name is wrong, somebody in the chat room definitely let me know, but that's the name I'm running with for now. And she would sit up and claim that her and Dixie Carter, the Carters, they've been very close friends for a long time now, and she's been very close with AJ Styles, and she would point out how she respects Dixie so much, and that she knew that when she had the problems that she had, that she could definitely go to Dixie, that Dixie would help out, and she appreciated the fact that AJ Styles, he went above the call of duty to help her as well, and she appreciates all the work that they both have done. And she will point out how she's been addicted to drinking. She used to do pills. She used to be an addict, and she's been trying very hard to get clean, and that they've been able to help her try to get clean or whatever. And she points out how AJ Styles and Dixie Carter, they aren't committing adultery. They haven't done anything wrong. Now, this is where it gets a little bit confusing. And I need help from you callers because I'm watching this, and I actually wasn't even rushing to come to the show right away. I was trying my best to see how this story arc was going to wrap up and end on a cliffhanger. And between the fans chanting, Jerry, 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 and this girl sitting up crying and all this crap, She says something to the effect of, I believe, Kazarian and Daniels, what they did was basically sabotaging stuff. I'm not sure what, but we would see Kazarian and Daniels come out, and they're trying to get her to shut up, but we see the girls clear out the ring ASAP as AJ Styles proceeds to try to beat these two guys down, and that would end our episode of Impact Wrestling. Now, let's just talk about the way that this ended here. Let's just talk about it overall with this last segment. That's not really how you want to have your viewers come back for next week. Now you're lucky if your fans come back next week, okay, because you give them this hot garbage, and it wasn't even what I was expecting, but it is what it is right now, so let's deal with what it is right now. This isn't the angle that they should have gone because it comes off looking very tacky. It's bad enough that they have been receiving a little bit of a bad rep within recent weeks as coming off like, oh, this is an episode of Cheaters, or this is an episode of Jerry Springer, now that the fans are chanting Jerry. I mean, if you ask me how they should have pulled this off, the route that they should have gone, I would have preferred her coming out to the ring and she could have said everything that she wanted to say, but at the same time she could have sat up and said, look, I believe that one of the wrestlers in TNA had took advantage of me one night while I was in my bad state of mind, and as a result, I'm impregnated with their child, and I need Dixie Carter and AJ Styles' help. It's why I've been working with them all this time, because I'm trying to find out who the baby daddy is. Now, somebody in the chat room, correct me if I'm wrong, but if that's not what she said, because I was very confused at what I saw. The execution was very poor. And I see NJ Brock, he's in our chat room. Let me see. Yes, Claire Lynn. Okay, thank you. I don't know for the love of me what the hell was up with this segment. I just really came away from it scratching my head saying, and thank you, yes, it makes a lot of sense what I've just said. That's what they should have done. That storyline would have been perfect in itself. I mean, just marinate on that, folks. We didn't need all this whole BS crap of what was going on with her coming down to the ring and trying to vindicate them and trying to tie it into Kazarian and Daniels. There was no need for all that crap. Just have her come out to the ring and say, hey, they haven't been committing adultery. I know because I've been their friend for X amount of years, and the reason why they've been so quiet, the reason why they've been acting the way they've been acting, they've been trying to protect me because, unfortunately, when I was in the state that I was in, one of the wrestlers took advantage of me, and they've just been trying to help me get clean, and at the same time, they're trying to help me find out who the baby daddy is. Now, some people would sit up and say, well, that's kind of going in the direction of an episode of Maury Lee. And I agree, that would be kind of going in the direction of a Maury angle, but at least it would have made a little bit more sense. Now you have this storyline that just makes completely no frickin' sense. God. Okay, let's talk about the overall episode tonight. And unfortunately, folks, I have to include what we witnessed as the last piece of vision that is going to be instilled in our minds until next week. And if you ask me for the record, if I would have booked this differently, I would have had RVD and Jeff Hardy in the frickin' show, because at least you could have walked away from that and said, hey, overall, TNA Impact was a really great episode. I really didn't care too much for that Dixie Carter, AJ Styles segment, but at the same time, man, RVD, Jeff Hardy, man, they put on one fucking great match, didn't they? Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, it was pretty good. At least they could have did it like that, but unfortunately, I have to give it an overall rating. I'm going to have to say this week, open fight night, I'm going to have to go with I'm being really nice, too. I'm going to have to go with a 7. I'm going to have to go with a 7. So to recap, they could have did without the whole AJ, Dixie Carter. They could have went in a totally different route with that. That needed some obvious cleaning up. The only other area I saw that kind of made me go, was the TNA gut check star, Taylor Hendricks. I just kind of felt like it would have been more nice to see her put on more of an offense because this is supposed to be her tryout match, and I just would have loved to see her do an equal amount of bumps and an equal amount of offense, and I really just didn't see that in her. I hope that she's offered a TNA contract in spite of what we saw, because like I said, and I will definitely tell her if we're able to get her on the show, that it just kind of came off as if Tara was really what it was all about. It was all about Tara being made to look good, and that's just not what I've been seeing since this whole TNA gut check concept has come into play. The past participants that we have had come into the ring, have they lost? Yes, they've lost, but they've been able to put on a balance of defense and offense to really make you come away and say, okay, yeah, they should definitely get a contract. No, they definitely shouldn't get a contract. And here was a scenario this week where I just kind of felt like, I don't know, I need to see a little bit more. Other than that, though, 7 out of 10 for this week. All right, so that's going to do it for our TNA Impact Wrestling recap. We're just getting started, though. We got some wrestling news that we got to talk about, get you all ready for the weekend. And we got some really great entertainment news that we're going to be sharing with you all. And we do have a few people that are on hold. We'll definitely get to your calls as we'll open up our Wrestling Fan Zone, get you all's thoughts on how you like tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. So we're going to do this right now. We're going to go on ahead, and we're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll jump right all into it. Quick note for you basketball fans, those of you that are curious right now, it is the third quarter still with just 43 seconds left, as the Miami Heat are beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 93-70. That's right, folks. The Miami Heat are beating the Oklahoma City Thunder 93-70 with just a few seconds left in the third quarter. Might tonight be the night? Well, with that lead, it looks very likely, folks. Tonight might be the night for Miami Heat. Sports Illustrated, you know they're going to be doing that commercial. You know how they usually do it. Hey, Miami Heat fans, your team just won the NBA championship. You know how they do it prematurely. I think it's really funny how they usually have the stuff be ready just in case this team wins or that team wins. I like how they have it all ready. True story. I remember a couple of years back, there was an NBA Finals game. It involved the Lakers. I want to say it was them taking on the Celtics. And I could remember there was a commercial, a Sports Illustrated commercial that had aired. It was on like for a few seconds, and they were talking about how the Lakers won, and it was nowhere near close to that. It was only on for like 3 seconds, and they hurried up and stripped it down. They're like, whoop, 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 we're jumping the gun there. I just think that's hilarious. Anyway, I'm sidetracking, but I still thought that was a really cool story to share with you all. All right, so you're listening to the Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. We'll be back in just a few seconds, folks. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. I just read something in the chat room. Yes, screw the Heat, indeed, yes. All right, we'll be coming right back. You're listening to Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. We'll be right back, folks. All right, and we're back. You're listening to the Thursday night edition of Impact Showdown. I'm, of course, as always, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank you all so much for checking out tonight's episode on June 21st, 2012. We're halfway to a milestone. I just realized it the other day. We've been doing this now since almost the beginning of last year, and then we had took our show over to Blog Talk Radio, and we've just been getting better and better each week as I make it personally be my job to top what I do on the previous episode, to top what I do the week before. And I just realized we are almost at a milestone. We are almost at our 50th episode. I know, a little bit premature to be celebrating. Should really be celebrating when you get to 100, but 50 episodes, I think that's a milestone in itself, as our fan base has just been continuing to grow. And I got some things planned for the upcoming weeks. I know one of the things that we're going to be doing real soon, and I've just been itching to do it because I've just been getting a little bit itchy when it comes to doing the show indoors in our studio here, and I'm ready to take the show on the road in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, hell, even the New York, New Jersey area. So I'm trying to put together a little game plan to take the show on the road, and hopefully we'll have that kicking off like really soon, because I definitely would love to jump out there and really interact with other wrestling fans. So I'll keep you posted on that. But it just had my brain jogging just the other day. I'm like, wow, we're almost at our 50th episode. We definitely got to do something semi-special because that is a milestone. You're halfway there. Yeah, so really freaking cool right there. Also, just want to give you guys a quick programming note now. We got coming on to our show next Tuesday night a guitarist by the name of Xander Demos. Now, for those of you that might not be familiar with Xander, he's from Pittsburgh, and he's been making a name for himself with his own solo band and playing with his band Into the Arena. So he's got his own solo band, but he's also doing some work with another band called Into the Arena. And he's worked for acts such as Adrenaline Mob, Buckethead, my personal favorite band here, UFO, Kip Winger, Neil Zaza, and Dio Disciples. Really phenomenal guitarist. Now, he's been nominated for the Best Guitarist in 2011 from the Iron City Rocks Music Awards and the 2013 Southern Star Independent Artist of the Year. He just recently joined James Rivera's Sabbath Judas Sabbath tribute band that's getting ready to launch an East Coast tour later this year. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to sitting down with him and talking about music. True story, I used to be a guitarist myself. I was a beginner, and I've always been fascinated with the guitar. I respect the hell out of guitars. If you ask me who are my top 10 favorite guitarists, I would have to say at the very top, I would have to say Kirk Hammett of Metallica, Number 2, I would have to go with Prince. I've always felt that he was one of the most underrated guitarists of all time. He just does not get enough credit in the world, I feel. I would have to go with Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine, The Watchman, Audio Slave. He did some really phenomenal work right there. Eddie Van Halen of Van Halen. He did some phenomenal work. Ted Nugent, Johnny Cash. Man, we could talk about guitarists all night, but, I mean, that just kind of gives you an idea on the type of music I mess with. So it's going to be really cool to kick back and talk with him next Tuesday night. He's got a new album that's out right now. It's called Guitarcadia. So be sure to check that out. Really great album. I listened to it just the other day. Very superb stuff right there. All right. Without any further ado, let's go on ahead. Let's enter our wrestling fan zone. We definitely know we got some of you that have been on hold, whether you are just waiting to come on the air live, share your thoughts. We appreciate it. Those of you that are just calling in just to listen to the show, we definitely appreciate it right there. So without any further ado, I see that we have our good friend Dave from Michigan that's calling from the 269 area code. Dave, you're live on the air, my friend. How you been?
I'm doing all right. I've been really enjoying Impact. Besides, well, look at Raw though too. There's segments on Raw, and I think Impact has been better than Raw the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. I think especially Open Fight Night is always exciting, and looking forward to that anyway. And I enjoyed how Austin Aries set up that one thing, or he really didn't set it up, but the way the storyline looks on it, that he's setting it up basically like whoever the X Division champion is next year will get a title shot, which I kind of like that idea.
Right. Yeah, it's a really, really great concept right there. How are you feeling that whole end of the night thing with Dixie and AJ?
I mean, that was real. I think that girl reminded me of that girl who was supposed to be Randy Orton's wife a few years ago, CM Punk. I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. But
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, it was just really horrible. And I think it would have been better if it would have been an affair, honestly, because just coming off like that, I mean, it was like, man, it was really lame. I wish they would have had those 3 masked men come out and jump AJ or something like that to end the show.
Now you're watching the episode. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here, because if we all miss something, we definitely need to know about it. Did that last segment make you come away and say, I still don't understand what's going on here, or was there something?
Yeah, I had no clue. Who is she? I mean, how is she even? At first, I thought it was like AJ's wife. I wonder if she's connected to Daniels now, because he's like, what is she doing here? And it's just coming off really weird. But I like that girl, which I think the knockouts, that, I'm not saying they should give girls opportunities, which they should, but it seems like they're lacking X Division stars more than they are knockouts, because they got at least 10 or 12 knockouts that I can think of just offhand. I can maybe think of 5 or 6 X Division guys that I see on TV. Yeah. And I just think they need more X Division guys than they do. Because who's going to be in the X match to win the title? I assume they're going to have it just the title hanging for Ultimate X, and whoever wins is the new champ. I mean, who's they going to throw in that? Yeah. Saban hurt right now.
Yeah, he's out. We'll be covering.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, who? And I would have loved to see last year that rematch of Breakdown, but I don't think we're going to see that, the triple threat. I think overall the show, I think Impact has been really good. I mean, I've enjoyed it a lot. I think I've enjoyed it more this week than I besides a couple, like that one match and then the ending segment. I mean, RVD really surprised me. I didn't expect to see him to go for a 450. That shocked me right there. And then James Storm and Joe. I mean, I don't know if that match is really forgotten or not, but, I mean, that was a pretty good match, too. And I don't believe there was a Garrett Bischoff on the show tonight.
That's a very valid point, James. That's a very valid point, yeah.
It's David.
Oh, I'm sorry, David. I don't know why I said James. I'm still thinking about the Cowboy James Storm.
Yeah, which I like what they're doing. I think he's going to end up getting the title shot at Mount for Glory anyway, but
yeah,
I do like the road they're taking. They're not getting the same people, which it does seem like Jeff Hardy is going to get a title shot now, I believe. Oh, that was just for the Bound for Glory series then, yeah. Okay, so he got 7 points. And then the Pope, the return of the Pope, that was always nice to see him.
Yeah, it was definitely good. Well, David, thank you so much for your call, man. We definitely appreciate it when you call in and you chime in your thoughts on what you liked or disliked about Raw and Impact Wrestling. Definitely appreciate it right there. And, you know, that definitely brings up a very valid point in my mind. And I wasn't really going to say too much on it. I was just kind of waiting to see a little bit more on how they're going to be handling this TNA gut check thing. I was going to be waiting to see how things were after a 2-month period, 3-month period of doing this to really get an idea on what it is they're looking for. But so far, it's a little bit premature to jump out there and already critique how they've been recruiting new potential stars. But with regards to the knockouts, I can think of a few knockouts off the top of my head that have been shown the door by TNA who were fucking phenomenal athletes. And one of them who I actually talk to from time to time, Miss Roxy, she definitely should be wrestling in TNA right now. Why she isn't, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. She's been having a phenomenal career as a fitness trainer. She's been doing her thing with that and trying to teach people how to eat more healthy. Hey, I'm digging that. I'm feeling that. But the way TNA did her the past few times that she's been associated with them, it's just been wrong. I think that maybe TNA got a little bit too scared of her. They thought she was a little bit too hardcore, and they really didn't want to have anything to do with her. Who knows? But I just think that that's one wrestler right there. If they're looking to add more knockouts to their roster, they could give her a call. Won't they see if she might be interested in coming back? Now, for you guys that like Miss Tracy Brooks, I'm sorry, but Tracy Brooks can't wrestle worth a damn. And those boobs are only going to be able to stand up for so long until she's going to need to go back to a doctor. So let's just get that out the way right now. Is she eye candy? No, she's not. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe 10 years ago she, but not right now. But yeah, I don't want to jump out there too early because it's still a little bit too early to sit up and talk about how TNA has been doing their gut check. But with regards to the knockouts, like I said, they had other knockouts that they've had the pleasure of acquiring over the years. And if they're dying for more knockouts, I would say just give them a call first to see if they're interested, especially if you can put them in the right type of storylines to really make them be relevant, or if all you really care about is them being able to put on a damn good match. I mean, hell, like I said, Miss Roxy, how about Miss Jackie? I love the Southern Chocolate Belle. She has always been one of my favorites. I've been watching her for years. I mean, she's truly phenomenal when she gets in that ring. She really knows how to be physical. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm going to follow up on that in a few weeks when we've built up at least 10 participants that have tried out for the TNA gut check, and I think that would be a good retrospective piece. We'll follow up on that definitely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's been going on in wrestling-related news. Now, as our good friend there, David, had pointed out, we had got some unfortunate news with regards to Chris Sabin, and it looks like the nasty fall that he had took last week on Impact Wrestling Live definitely was a botched move, because remember in that match that he was in, he landed wrong in the ring, and he was somewhat supposed to be caught by whoever was on the outside, and so it looks like he's going to be having surgery once again, as his left ACL has been injured. So this all had happened, if y'all need a little bit more jogging with your memory, it happened during the Ultimate X match when Austin Aries backdropped him over the top rope, and he was to have his fall was to be blocked by Zema Ion, but he landed badly. So Saban's going to have to undergo surgery that's going to put him out for at least 6 to 9 months. And the man just returned in March after being out of action for 11 months due to reconstructive surgery on his right knee. How fucked up is that, folks? Is that a bad case of luck or what? I mean, this guy is so young, and he just is starting to remind me of Kevin Nash almost. Who could forget that infamous night of Raw where Kevin Nash had made his return after being out on a quad injury for, I think, a year, and he comes back in a tag match, and he gets tagged in, and within like 7 seconds of him taking a few feet in the ring to try to attack, he freaking tears his other quad. And then he's out again. I feel sorry for Chris Sabin, but I mean, at the same time, I got to be very critical here. This is the second time now where we got Zema Ion being involved in a case where a wrestler gets messed up. Now, I'm not trying to crap too hard on this Zema Ion kid, but why is it now, for the second time in a row, we got a wrestler that's being injured and he's involved? I'm just saying, if I was TNA right now, I think that's too many people that are injured. I think if TNA is really smart, the right thing that they need to do, they need to freaking get rid of this Zema Ion. I know I'm probably going to upset some wrestling fans, especially those of you that are Zema Ion fans. I don't care. Okay, this is the second time now. Chris Sabin has never had any of these freaking problems before. Chris Sabin seemed like he was on point when he came back in March. Now, did he come back maybe a little bit too soon? We don't really know. We can only speculate. Maybe it might have been a situation where they were just trying to find something for him to do on TV, try to figure out how to really bring him back on a long-term basis. But I just find it really weird that as soon as you involve him in a match with Zema Ion, and Zema Ion is supposed to be the one to protect your ass, and he fucks it up, give him his walking papers, show him the door, send him his future endeavors, honestly, because, I mean, this kid, to me, he's just coming off reckless. They got to set an example. They got to set the tone that this type of behavior is not going to be allowed, because if you can't trust the dance partner that you're going to be working with in the ring, because when you really think about it, that's your life that you're putting in their hands, especially if you're those high-flying guys, those X-Division guys, and you're putting your neck out there like that. If you can't trust that person that you're going to be dancing with, then that's a serious problem right there. So I hope that Chris Sabin, he gets a speedy recovery. He has a speedy recovery, and he can come back sooner rather than later. But I think at this point, he needs to just be out as long as it takes. Bump coming back at 100%. Come back at 200%. So best wishes to him right there. And we got Chris Jericho, who's been counting down his return to the WWE, as if you haven't been checking out his suspension tweets, his latest one is 2 years ago, I went to see Iron Maiden with two of my cousins, and they played 2 minutes to midnight. So as we all know, Chris Jericho, he will officially be off of suspension as of this weekend. So we got one more day to go, Friday. Yeah, he'll be clear as of Saturday. So be really looking forward to seeing him come back on WWE Raw. And the question that I actually put out there on our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show, is it going to be Jericho the wrestler that we're going to be seeing return, or is it going to be the Fozzy frontman? Which Jericho are we going to be getting this time around that's going to be surfacing? So I'm definitely curious to see who we get that's going to show up. And we got a little bit of John Cena news for you. Now, his estranged wife, Liz, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. It just sounds really funny. You know, when I can't come up with a way to pronounce a person's last name, and it works every freaking time, I highly recommend that you do this. If you can't pronounce the person's last name, kind of play with it a little bit before you announce their last name. You say it to yourself, maybe in your head, or say it in the mirror. Watch how your mouth kind of moves. Try to make sure that you're not mumbling it. And then just let it kind of roll off of a one word. So take, for example, I'm looking at his wife's last name, and it looks like it says Huberdua, and we know that's probably not how you pronounce it. If I were to call her right now, I would probably say, yes, may I speak to Miss Liz Huber? And if you do it just like that, I guarantee you they will not be offended. They'll actually think that you said their last name right. Try it out sometimes. You'll thank me later, and you're welcome. But anyway, we would see his estranged wife, Liz, who would claim that Cena had been cheating on her. Now, Liz's attorney, Raymond Rafool, he told exclusively to TMZ that they've been getting tips that John Cena has been messing around while they were married. And if this is true, that's enough grounds for Liz to challenge the prenup agreement. Now, Rafool will be quoted saying to TMZ, we're definitely following up on every lead relative to this being unfaithful before and after the separation. So, how does that Ray Charles song go, guys? Busted. I'm busted. Yeah, you busted, all right, boy. That is not good right there, folks. And also, we got to let you know about what has been going on with WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sunny Cinch, who recently revealed that she plans to relocate from New Jersey so that she can be with her boyfriend in Connecticut. Now, she had posted this info on her Facebook page and said that she would be interested in working at the WWE organization since it's so conveniently in Connecticut. Now, this is what she said, and I quote, just had a thought. I'll be living in Connecticut soon. I think I'll make a call and work in the studio. And here's where it got really funny here, folks. A fan had begged her to come back to the WWE for one final run and stated that she's more hotter than Vicky Guerrero. And this obviously offended Sunny because she wrote back, then Vicky, of all people, you compare me to her. Now, let's just pause for a second here, okay? I believe she has nude photos that's been floating around of her, and WWE, they aren't exactly in that territory now. I mean, I can't even recall the last time we had a WWE diva go pose nude for Playboy magazine. I think it's been a couple of years now. It's been to the point right now I can't even remember who was the last Playboy cover girl for them. So they're really trying to go into this whole PG era. Do they really want to be associated with Sunny, who also unfortunately continues to build a negative reputation for standing up promotions, events, I mean, you name it. I mean, just recently she was supposed to sit up and do a wrestling radio show, and we actually had reported on that a couple of weeks back on an episode of the RCWR show where these guys, they sat up, they had a limo drive out to where she is at her residence to pick her up. I believe it was supposed to be a round trip. The limo was supposed to pick her up from the house, take her to the studio. She does the interview, get paid. Limo takes her back to the house. That's it, all said and done. and she no-called, no-showed them. She's no-called, no-showed at a few autograph sessions, wrestling events. You know, with a kind of track record like that, I would hope that WWE would be smart and say, no, we can do better than this. We don't need to be working with her because she's a serious liability, not only to us, but she could be a liability to the talent that she could be working with in the ring for that night. So hopefully WWE makes the smart move and don't have anything to do with her. Now, with that being said, we do have that 1,000th episode of Raw coming up. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe they might ask her to make a cameo of some sort, but something long-term, I don't really see that happening. Speaking of Raw, we got the latest ratings in for this past week's episode, which pulled in a 3.38 rating with 4.8 million viewers. So did pretty good this week. Not pretty bad. You know, that's a good number as the numbers continue to rise right there. It looks like Vince McMahon popping up last week did what was needed as it's back up to where it needs to go right now. And we got some Perry Saturn news for you guys. As Perry Saturn, he recently did a 35-minute interview with James Gutman on ClubWWI.com. And a number of things that was covered. He talked about the mob gimmick that he had in the WWE. He talked about hiding his drug habits in the WWE. He even talked about Chris Benoit. That's right, he talked about Chris Benoit. And I'll just share with you the thoughts that he had with regards to Chris Benoit, and then we'll switch it up a little bit. Now, this is what he had to say about Benoit. He said, all the time I'd been with Chris, I honestly don't think I've seen him mad. I'm sure he'd been upset, but mad? I've been mad where they've had to grab me and calm me down mad. Eddie's been so mad, I've seen Eddie throw a fucking pool cue across a bar for just about no reason. I've seen Dean twice scream at everybody. I've never seen Chris do that. All those times I went out every night partying because that's what I did. And on occasion, I was able to drag these guys out with me. Chris told me one day, and it never changed, that he didn't cheat on Nancy. Chris was a faithful husband and loving father. I have no idea what happened. I could never explain it, and it blows my mind, the whole thing. So, really nice little piece right there. I'll tell you what we'll do for you guys. We'll definitely sit up over the weekend, and we'll take some of the key highlights of his interview piece, and we'll definitely play it for you guys on next Tuesday's RCWR show. But I'm really happy to hear that he's gotten cleaned up and he's been doing a better job of putting his demons behind him and left those drugs alone, because I always thought Perry Saturn was a decent wrestler, a little bit underrated, I felt. But nice to see that he's starting to slowly get his life back up together. Now, we definitely got to let you guys know about some cool stuff that's been going on entertainment-wise. And I don't know how many of you are comic book fans. We did say we were going to briefly talk about what's been going on in the comic book scene. But there's this really cool figure that is getting ready to be released by the company Hot Toys, and they have released a teaser pic, or two if you will, of a definitive collectible for Heath Ledger's Joker from the Dark Knight movie, and the pictures look freaking ridiculously good, man. The figure looks sick. Now, some of you guys may be sitting up and you may be saying, Dow's, but, you know, you sit on it for just the right amount of time, especially if it's a hot commodity. You could be selling that bad boy on eBay for 2-3 times the profit. Now, you want to talk about how hot this figure is probably going to be when it finally is released. I haven't heard the numbers yet, but when it comes to Hot Toys, who has built a very respected reputation for building the finest dolls and figures in fine detail and great articulation, man, I would think that this Heath Ledger Joker is probably going to run up at least $500. Okay? At least $500. And what we'll do is we'll post some of the pictures up on our Facebook page over at Infinity One Productions. Y'all can go and check it out. We'll definitely have them up a little bit after we get done doing tonight's show. So definitely check that out. And I thought this was funny, but there are apparently these group of people that don't have anything else to do as, get this, these people had sat up and they had recently found a ton of mistakes that were made in the Avengers movie, okay? I kid you not. There are actually some people that have a lot of time on their hands that sat up and were looking for a whole bunch of mistakes, and they claim that Avengers has the most mistakes for a superhero movie so far, as the count tally comes in at 15. Now, who's at second place? That would be the Hunger Games. Now, here's some of the mistakes that were made. Now, this may sound familiar to you all, for those of you that saw the Avengers movie. Now, here's a factual error. The video game company Namco Bandai is misspelled twice as Namco Bandai in the end credits. Audio problem. When one of the computer operators resumed playing Galaga, the sound effect heard is for an enemy spaceship attempting to capture the player's ship, but what's shown on screen is normal gameplay. Continuity. In multiple shots where Iron Man is flying around the city, there are cuts on his forehead. However, when he is lying on the ground and Thor rips the face mask off his suit, the cuts on his forehead have disappeared. Continuity. After Iron Man takes out a worm, Jonah style, he crashes into a cab and stops about 2 feet away. He gets up. There is a quick shot of him on the inside of his suit, and when he gets up, the cab is nowhere to be seen. Oh, God, this is cracking me up, man. Continuity. Near the end of the big battle scene, Captain America is winged by a blaster bolt. When he is helped to his feet by Thor, he is holding his side, and there is visible damage to his uniform. In later shots, all evidence of being shot is gone from his uniform. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to read 2 more to you guys. Continuity. When the vehicle bringing Captain America and Agent Coulson to the helicarrier lands, in the wide shot as the vehicle touches down, the wingtips fold downwards and inwards as if preparing for a storage on board. But in the next shots outside the vehicle, as Captain America dismarks, the wingtips are in their extended and locked flight position. Who gives a flying fuck about that? Oh, my God. One more for you guys. Let's see if we can end it on a really cool note here. Factual error. In the scene in Stuttgart, we see a reserved parking sign written as Reservierten Park. In correct German, it would be written Reservierte Park. I'm not going to end it right there. Let's end it on something else here. Continuity. Throughout the film, Tony Stark's chest ring can be seen glowing through his shirt, except for 2 occasions when it's suddenly off. After Loki escapes from the helicarrier, and when Loki and Tony Stark are talking in Stark Tower. My God, I can just picture the guys that are sitting up watching this movie. These guys who found all these freaking errors are probably guys who I would dread to be watching a movie with, because they probably have seen this 5,000 times, okay? And they were just probably sitting there with their glasses on, their little bifocal Steve Urkel glasses on, with a frickin' number 2 fat pencil and a notepad, and they're going, that piece is wrong right there. That doesn't look right to me. I just don't really get that. That's just really disturbing right there. You guys, I hope you were paid to find all those errors, because if you were not paid to find those errors, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. You know, it's one thing if you hear about bloopers, stuff that just didn't make sense when a movie has been out for 5, 10, 20 years. Take a good movie like Full Metal Jacket, one of my personal favorite Stanley Kubrick movies, like of all time, right next to his Eyes Wide Shut movie. I thought that all these years later, I thought that what I had found on YouTube, and I don't even know how long the bloopers of Full Metal Jacket had been surfacing around, but I had just recently saw Full Metal Jacket, and I had typed it in YouTube one day, and I was looking to see what other people had thought of the movie. I was basically looking for scenes specifically with the Colonel, and he's just crapping on Gomer Pyle, and I saw this blooper reel, and I thought that it was pretty freaking hilarious, but at the same time, you thought, man, where do I even begin? You talk about the Avengers movie, which came out not too long ago, and already you're finding all these, God, I hope you guys got paid, because if you didn't get paid, I hope you at least get laid, because really, man, that's not really something I would be saying at a cocktail party to try to get a girl to come home with me. I found 15 errors in the Avengers movie. Anyway, folks, let's move right on along. I got to play with you guys a little bit, man. You got to loosen it up a little bit sometimes. For you basketball fans out there, we definitely got your hook up. We're going to let you know the latest on what's been going on with the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder, as the Miami Heat have beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 121-106. That's right, folks. The Miami Heat have defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 121-106, and the Miami Heat are your 2012 NBA champions. I can just hear the people booing and hating LeBron James right now. There's always next year, folks. There is always next year. Hey, have you guys seen the new Judge Dredd 3D trailer? Let me tell you something, man. If you haven't, make it your business to go check it out, because, man, this new Judge Dredd trailer embarrasses the hell out of what Sly Stallone did. And I'm a huge Sly Stallone fan. I've got his Rocky movies. I got his Rambo movies. I love Stallone. That's my boy. But, man, this new Judge Dredd film that is getting ready to come out in September, it looks freaking amazing. You got to see the trailer if you haven't seen it yet. It really looks cool. And, man, you got to give props to the production team that's been handling it, as it's the production company called TNA, and they've been doing a fantastic job with rebooting it. Now, they've been sitting on rebooting it now, I think, since 2007, 2008, and it's been coming along very well. I know early on there were some pictures that were floating around of the new Judge Dredd, portrayed by Carl Urban, but it's really been coming together very well, and it's directed by Pete Travis. Now, if that name sounds a little bit familiar to you guys, no, I'm not talking about the guy that does the movie reviews on Rolling Stone. No, I'm talking about the director who did the 2008 thriller Vantage Point, which stars Forrest Whitaker, Dennis Quaid, Sigourney Weaver, William Hurt, and, of course, Party of Five star, who also went on to do the hit ABC series Lost, Matthew Fox. And it just looks really amazing right now. It should be noted that this new Judge Dredd movie, they have a $45 million budget. Now, when you compare that to the 1995 Judge Dredd starring Stallone, that one had a $90 million budget, but look at how much total they pulled in from box office sales. They pulled in $113,493,000 and some lot of freaking zeros right there. Don't even get me started on math. Whenever I start messing up with the math numbers right there, I know it's almost time for me to wrap it up. But they made a ton of freaking money, so they got some big shoes that they need to fill in. Will they be able to pull it off? Who knows? If you ask me honestly, I think that maybe them going the route that they're going, it could possibly hurt them because they're going with somewhat of an unknown guy. But, hey, we could be wrong. It could work out, folks. So we'll definitely see what's going to happen with that. That comes out in September 21st of this year, so be sure to check that out. Definitely looks like it's going to be really good. And, of course, we got Michael Bay, who's talking about how he's going to be approaching the next Transformers movie, as he promises that the fourth one is going to be his last one. And he spoke about how he's definitely going to be working with a more smaller budget, as the fourth installment's budget will be cut by $30 million, and how some of the designs that were in Part 3 are definitely going to be reused for the fourth installment. And he also went on to say that with regards to what has gone on with the trilogy, that it will remain intact, that they will pick up where those respective storylines left off. And that kind of actually helps diffuse the rumors that the fourth installment was possibly going to go in a completely different direction. It was going to be some type of a reboot, if you will, like how they are doing with the Spider-Man franchise right now. But Michael Bay, he promises that no type of reboot is going to be done. It's going to pick up from where the three movies left off, as this will be the first Transformers movie that will pretty much have an all-new cast. And he also had toyed with the idea of making it be not about Earth, that it could be taking place in space. Now, he's supposed to be meeting up with one of his co-writers sometime next week to brainstorm more on ideas. So, hey, I think it's coming together pretty well right there. So, hey, at least we know it's not going to be a reboot. That's the last thing that we need to hear right there. There's so many reboots that's going on right now. It's really ridiculous. And one last little piece of information for you guys, for you comic book fans. DC Entertainment and all comic book retailers across North America are going to be declaring Thursday, July 19th, as the Dark Knight Rises Day, to celebrate the arrival of the summer's most anticipated film, opening in theaters and IMAX on Friday, July 20th. Now, fans who visit their local comic book retailer on that day of July 19th will receive a free special comic book that's going to be featuring several exclusive previews of current and upcoming Batman comic books and graphic novels. There's going to be more than 500,000 copies that's going to be free of that Batman comic book. That'll be handed out on a first-come, first-served basis. It's dubbed Batman Earth 1 Special Preview Edition. So definitely want to keep your eyes peeled on that. It's going to be written by Geoff Johns and illustrated by Gary Frank, one of my personal favorites right there. So be sure to check that out. We'll definitely remind you again as time draws near, of course. That's going to do it for tonight's show. I think we did pretty damn good. We almost went literally 2 hours there. I wasn't even expecting the show to be that long. Wow. Well, we did pretty damn good tonight. Leave you guys hanging on a good note, get you ready for the weekend. Of course, this Saturday we're going to be doing something new with the RCWR show. We're going to be doing something exclusive for our YouTube fans. We welcome those of you that have not checked us out on YouTube yet. Highly recommend that you go on over to YouTube, look us up on our YouTube channel, the RCWR show. I'm going to be doing an exclusive interview with Australian pop singer Vassie. We're going to be talking about her music career, her latest album that's come out. It's going to be a really nice piece. I definitely encourage you all to check it out. We should have that episode uploaded sometime before 5 o'clock in the evening, East Coast time. Definitely recommend that you check that out. It's going to be really cool. Right now, until I find a permanent name, I'm going to be dubbing that piece that I'll be doing with her Weekend Day Talk with Lee Sanders. So, sounds a little, but we're working on the title on that, as I'll be trying to do a little bit more stuff on the weekend. So, definitely check that out. And remember, coming up this Tuesday, we got Xander DeMos that's going to be stopping by. Other than that, I think we did pretty good. Good show tonight. Thanks to those of you that are going to be listening to this on the download on YouTube. Thank you to the guys that are in our chat room. Hey, y'all have a great weekend. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, and until I hear from you guys next time around, you all be safe, be kind to one another. Check out our episodes in the Zune, iTunes marketplaces. Keywords, the RCWR show. Take care, everybody.